Hello and good day. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. Hey, it's Boles.television, coming to you live and in person from the East Coast of these United States at high noon. Now, who knows if we'll stay at high noon, if we'll try to go back to 9 a.m., maybe 5 p.m., who knows? It's all open. It's all part of the puzzle that we try to solve that is called live streaming. And it's interesting. When I did the show at 9 a.m., we had a very different kind of people who showed up. And at noon, we have a different sort of people who show up. And late at night, later in the day, we've never really tried that. So maybe we'll have a whole different style and a sense of people who will be joining us and figuring out some things along the way. Interesting show today. I don't want to say you've been warned, but you've been informed of things to come. First of all, before we get into today's heavier topics, we'll take another look at a topic that we've discussed here before, and that is stealing content. It's technically called scraping content. And the idea is simply this, that a bot or you or a person you hire goes out on the internet, sees an article, and scrapes it. Not like that, but that's the idea. Scrapes it, copies and pastes, scrapes that information into something else that you, as the scraper, own and monetize. That's the problem with providing content for years and years and years, is that people tend to steal from you. And they steal from me a lot, and from my writers a lot. And that's why it's so funny when we hear, people talk about AI and how it's not original. It is. Oh, it's just copying, it's just stealing. And I say to these people, you have no idea what you're talking about, because that is not how this works. You want to talk about copying and stealing, go to bolesblogs.com and take a look at what's going on there, because we have been a fountain house of free and stolen content for, 25 years? And that's where it takes us today as we investigate the following. In my email, I get a notification. Hey, here's is this the new Gibson SG Zoot Suit? David Boles Blogs. Okay, now this is on a website called Go to Shopping. I have nothing to do with this website. Save up to 50%. Free shipping over $35. Now, this looks suspiciously like the image from my article. They're saying that this guitar, which is probably a $3,000 guitar, is selling for $38. I don't think so. You can choose your size, which is even funnier, right? Oh, I can see it doesn't drop down for you. You can see the size. It's all women's clothing sizes, by the way. Size guide. Yeah, you can see that. 50% off last 24 hour. Okay, add it to cart. Authenticity guaranteed. Sure. In stock, ready to ship. I don't think so. And then here's the description of the Gibson guitar. SG, right? Looks like my image. Yes, yes. Some people think this is a really ugly looking guitar. I think it's really kind of fabulous. Very unique. And every single one of them were just a little bit different because of all these different sorts of rings you have going on here. And then here we go again. Is this the new Gibson SG by David Boles Blogs? Now that's the title of the article that I wrote. So they scraped the images, but they did not give me any writer credit, image credit, or even link back to my source. Here are the other things that they are selling. So it's very bizarre. You would think this is blue, which usually means hyperlink, but there's no link. You click on it, it doesn't do anything. So here's where it gets really interesting. This is my original article from 2009. That's what, 100 years ago. Is this the new Gibson SG Zoot? Question mark. And here's my article. Oh, look, there's the image from my article. It's very brief. We have nice comments. We have other things from other people. People think it's ugly. Oh, there we are, live. Always live. Even on bolesblogs.com. So, you talk about stealing. AI, which takes inspirations from things and makes something new. And then you have this, where some rogue website is stealing my images and using my good name and the title of my article to sell whatever they're selling, because I don't think they're selling this guitar. I don't believe it's selling for $38. And then, as the day would have it, as we move on, I get notification in my email box about this. 5 fires that changed the world. Okay? 2016. So when it was published, September 6th. That is the title of one of my humanmeme.com podcasts. Okay. So this is a website called Himalaya. Himalaya. Some people say Himalaya. I say Himalaya because I'm from Nebraska. So I say this is the what I call the poopic, the PR poopic stuff for this episode. Fire changes us, warms us, creates the history of us. We share 5 fires in history that changed the basis of us. Shelley, Yeats, San Francisco, Watts, O.J. Simpson, and No Country for Old Men. Ignite the conversation. Hey, interesting, right? I'll tune in. Why are you scraping my Human Meme podcast? Putting on a site that I don't know anything about called Himalaya.com. They have a app store, Google store, probably somehow putting ads on my content. So they're making money and I'm not. And unfortunately, that is the nature of podcasting, as is sort of the nature of writing your own show. Doing a blog is when you use RSS for distribution as part of your distribution plan. Really simple syndication. It's so simple that bots and bad actors and mean people can just pop in your RSS feed into their software and pull down everything you've ever written and just copy it over and put their name on it. And what are you going to do about it? How am I going to go find the just shopping people to take down my images? It would take me probably days, a week or two. So how much money, based on what you would get back? It would cost you a lot of time and money, and you would get nothing back. Himalaya, what would they say? They say, oh, it's a mistake. We'll immediately delete you. No harm, no foul, right? That's what they'll say. And what are you going to do? Go out and hire a lawyer? As I've told you many times, from a theater in Chicago tried to rip me off, owed me $5,000. They said, sue us. I said, are you serious? Well, this was the deal we had. And the guy said, it's going to cost you $5,000 for you to hire a lawyer to go after us. And we owe you $5,000. So do you want us to keep your money, or do you want to hire a lawyer and give him all your money? Well, all of that's true. However, when you are in a guild, association, a union, if you're lucky, you can go to your guild and say, look, this is a signatory in Chicago, and they are withholding my $5,000 and want me to sue them. And then your guild makes a phone call to the Chicago theater saying, look, you can't do this. There's a signed contract. You owe our writer $5,000. Pay him. And usually, if they're right, they just pay because they know if the guild goes after him, they're going to have to pay the lawyer $5,000. Not my lawyer. I pay my dues. My guild gets my dues. And as part of that deal, dues-paying deal, when you need emergency assistance, they will usually step in and assist you and make a call on your behalf. And for that, I'm always grateful. So that's the news in stealing and scraping. A little green tea. As you can see, we're out of ice cubes. So I scraped all of this ice, which I'm calling shaved ice, from the bottom of our ice cube bin to make my own green tea. Home brewed green tea, freshly made today. So now, as we struggle to live a human life, we always try to be reflective, reflexive, thoughtful, self-revering, and externally revering as well. And we make decisions in life, and some of us are rigid, some of us are more flexible, some of us are hardcore, ADHD, some of us are laid back and forgiving. And it takes all kind of people to spin the world. But all of us, every once in a while, just need to stop, take a look at decisions that were made, things that happened. Were they the right thing that happened at the right time? Wrong thing that happened at the right time? Wrong thing that happened at the wrong time? It can all be very mysterious. But you want to make sure you're on the right track. Are the right decisions being made? Are the proper connections being honored? Are we closing our circles? As the great Howard Stein shared with me and told me at the end of his life, that we create circles throughout our life, and as he was dying every day a little bit more, he wanted to make contact with all the people that he knew and loved and close the circle. So I have always had this idea, and it was a long-fought idea, and I had believed it for most of my life until, I was sort of corrected over the weekend, wondering about what could be better. And I was asked a question a week or two ago that got this whole thing kind of started. And the idea is, what is a friendship? Now, I have usually, I don't want to say always, I've usually been of the belief that, if I know you, if we've exchanged, more than just a hey on the street, we've had a conversation, you're my friend. And I told a story a long time ago of a person that I knew back in Lincoln who, made this big dramatic speech to me. He was an actor, and at the end he said, "And by the way, I would like to be your friend." And I kind of looked at him because we had worked together on some things, and we didn't really ever get along, but we were friendly. And I thought, that because we'd worked on 2 or 3 shows together, some things I was doing, he was helping me, and some things he was doing, and I was helping him, and vice versa, as they say. So I thought we had always been friends. So I was like, whoa, we're not friends? And he was like making a formal request to be friends. I got the feeling like we were going to sign a contract or something. It was very awkward and very weird. And I really was sort of, young and in high school and didn't know what to say. Oh, yeah, we'll be friends. It was almost like he was proposing marriage and getting down on his knee and saying, I would like to be your friend. I didn't have an answer. He, I guess, felt a little bit insulted that he thought I didn't want to be his friend. And I tried to say, I thought we'd always been friends. And in his mind, we were not friends. I guess because we hadn't had the conversation. The give and take, the offer, the acceptance, the contract was never made. You're officially my friend. So after that, we were friendly, saw each other once in a while working on a show. And then he moved to California and I stayed behind because I was finishing university. And then we've never really been in touch since, which maybe proves that we were not friends. I don't know. But we do have to decide and define what friendship means for us. And it can mean, I've learned, different things for different people. Some people have very strict rules about friendship, which is what I'm trying to avoid. I'm saying, if I know you, you're my friend. Well, that can get you into trouble because the people who have very strict understandings about what it means to be a friend is, if I ask you something, you come and you help me without question. If I need you at 3 a.m. to bail me out of jail, you will come over and help me. I don't have a lot of friends. I have 1 or 2 friends and I can die with them and they'll die with me. Now that to me is a little dramatic. Do I have friends like that? I don't know. Now, not talking about, friends or not talking about family or wife, but talking about outside people that I would go at 3 a.m. and bail out of jail. I guess if the right person asked, I would go. But everybody that I've said is my friend, would I go? No. And I have been warned that is a problem, a possible problem, that you're saying that you'll agree to do things for people by saying you're friends, seeing them regularly, exchanging gifts, doing things, bumming a ride, taking a hike, going swimming. And if you don't, do these things, then you don't really have a friendship. So you say you're friends, but you don't really have any friends. Online friends are not friends. So that makes it very difficult. And there's always the question of, can men and women be friends? And of course, the psychologists and the sociologists will say, well, cool, of course, men and women can be friends. And people who know, who live real lives, say, meow, that's not really going to happen, especially if it's a straight man and a straight woman. And you see the old cliche of the woman with the best friend who's a gay guy. That's the stereotype, the trope. But can straight men and straight women be friends without any sexual tension? If you're a guy, you know the answer. If you're a girl, you probably don't want to know the answer. Because a guy will tell you whatever you want to hear, no matter what age you are. There's always the inner urge, or as some say, the unscratchable itch. So that's disappointing for people who sort of realize, or unwittingly realize, oh, the guy who I thought was my friend is not really my friend, even though he's married, has a girlfriend. Well, I found that out. So that's another difficult thing, because I guess my theory is, if there's a woman and I know her, she's my friend. Well, that can be dangerous. Not necessarily with my life or with my wife or my life, because I have a very loving, laid-back, delightful wife. But I do generally find myself being careful with women because I don't want to send the wrong message. I have been in trouble every once in a while. Not trouble, but I've got myself into uncomfortable situations because I'm originally from Nebraska, where you say hi to everybody. You're super friendly. You're gregarious. Then you move to some place like New York City, and you're the same kind of person, being friendly and nice and helpful, and they think that a woman thinks you're flirting with them, or a man thinks you're flirting with them. It's like, no. No, 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 no. I just got here. I'm from Nebraska. I'm not flirting with you. I'm just trying to offer my help. I'm not being your friend. So that gets you in trouble. You have to be a little bit careful. Well, you said you're my friend. Yeah, but I'm married and, I spend my time with my beautiful wife. So these definitions mean something. There are people who, that I work with or who work for me that I have, considered being friends. And I have sort of been corrected saying they're not really your friends. You are friendly with them, but you're not friends. Same with instructors, teachers, and students. You can be friendly with them, but are you friends? Do you hang out with them? In my experience, no. Especially if you're a male instructor and you have female students and there's a power dyad and you have to be very clear while still trying to be nice that, we're in the class together and when we're outside of the class together, we're not together. We don't say hi. We don't go out and do things together because it sends the wrong message to the student. And it sends the wrong message to the other students who say, did you see the two of them? I saw them at lunch together. Not that there's anything going on, but it's weird. He's playing favorites. Which is a real and fair assumption and accusation you can expect other students to make when one student gets preferential treatment. So the question that started this whole thing a couple of weeks ago, I was sort of, expressing my disappointment to a beloved one about how I tend to do things for people without really getting anything back. Not that I'm looking for it, but here's the context of what I was asked. I was asked, why do you do things for people because you call them your friend, and then they never do anything back for you, and then you get frustrated by this lack of reciprocity? And it doesn't have to be money or respect or conversation. It's just that I've learned once you start this process of helping someone or advising them, they expect you to do that all the time because there's no limit on it because you're friends. Even though you don't say you're friends or sign a contract, they know that you are being friendly. So I was asked, why do you get into this situation where you're doing all of this and you're getting nothing of sustenance, soul fulfilling back from them, and then you get frustrated because they keep taking from you without giving you anything, and then you end up kind of having to say, well, thanks, but I'm done with you. So you can get your life back, and then they end up being mad because they get cut off from your friendship, whatever, and you've put yourself in this situation. And you have caused this all yourself by you being Nebraska friendly and thinking that everyone's your friend just because you know them. Yikes. That's painful. So that's something you think about every once in a while. What is it? Why do I get into situations where I help people technically or personally, or I give them advice or direct them to something and they eat up the information and they use it to their advantage? And it's not that I ever ask them for anything because they don't have anything that I really need or that I want. Because I'm usually the person who has the knowledge, the ability to do it. And they don't. They don't offer to pay. I don't ask them for money. I don't ask them for anything in return. They just take and take and take and take and take and take and take until you get fed up. And then, people get mad because you cut them off. So as I think about this, I am an old person, relatively speaking. And when you start on the internet, on particularly like Usenet CompuServe, nobody knew anything about anything. And we all lived in different places. And we all were using dial-up on a modem to log in to, let's say, CompuServe. And it was all text-based, and you paid per minute. And nobody really understood how to do anything, how to master anything. And so, you'd have to ask people, and you didn't have a phone number. You didn't know their real name. You knew their user number, unless they told you. You didn't call them. They weren't your neighbor. You wouldn't see them in school the next day. So you'd say, as briefly as possible, because you were paying per minute, I don't know how to do this. How do I do this? How do I send you a message? How do I play this text game? And they would take time and reply back to you and help you. And then they would be lost or want to play a game or want information. They would ask you, and you would respond back as fast as you could to save your money and save their money. And so everybody helped each other. We were all sort of in this together by necessity. And if you were not in this together, then you died alone. And this is back in the early 1980s. When we were doing this. And you didn't know how old someone was, you didn't know what they looked like, you didn't know if they were male or female. As the old cartoon goes, you don't know on the internet that you're talking to a dog. And it was wonderful. And it was the pioneer spirit, and everybody was helping each other. And you weren't trying to get anything back. You didn't take anything from anybody. It was all equally given and taken. Virtual friendships were born. Virtual friendliness was born, if that is more appropriate. And I have always sort of lived that life, where some people are about money and only money, or power and only power, and I try to be, a little neutral about it. Started magazines. I didn't charge anybody for the content. They scrape it for free and make money. I invited writers to come in and write with me, not for me. I would edit their work. They were new. They got published. The deal was, hey, I'll publish you and I'll pay for the publication and the server space, which used to be very expensive. And we'll just keep your work online in perpetuity for as long as possible. And then, you've been publishing them for 25 years and, technology becomes easier and simpler. And then these people who you helped turn around and scrape their own content from your website and put it on their website. And they say, hey, it's my article. And you say back, hey, that wasn't the deal 25 years ago. You were new, young, desperate. You wanted to be published. I published you, I edited you, we worked together as a team, and the deal was, I pay, you submit, that's the deal. And they don't care. They're old, they're experienced, and they probably think in the back of their mind, well, we were never friends. Who are you? What's wrong with you? So, those are the reasons why I have reconsidered this idea, which I guess was sort of a utopia of my own mind, that everybody I meet, if I know you, we're friends. It becomes unsustainable. So now when people ask for help, want my direction, my advice, my limited wisdom, I'm not going to be as free giving it away. And there are people who try to take advantage of you, who know you know something. You can write, you can edit, you know sign language, you have experience in theater, tell me this, tell me that, and I'm going to take what you tell me and use it for myself, and you get nothing. You'll be my mentor. Well, yeah, everybody pays if they want a mentor. You don't get being someone's mentor for free. You pay in some way. There's always a cost involved, and people don't want to talk about that. So I'm reformatting all of my friendships, and I guess I'm dissolving them all. You are no longer my friend until, I guess, we meet again and we have a conversation and we talk about what the terms should be of our friendship, what the contract should say, what the offer and the acceptance should be, and how we're going to evaluate this on an ongoing basis. So I don't know if that's better to say everyone's my friend or nobody's my friend. I have one friend in the world, he's my cat, which probably is the safest friendship you'll ever have in the rest of your life. And so we move along and we try to figure this out, and we will reflect on this and reflexively analyze all of our decisions, because that's what we try to do as a cogent and caring human being. And in this effort of reevaluation, I offer you this thought. Be careful, be wary, be friendly, but don't make friends. Now we're moving on to the next rave. Or maybe this is a rant too. I don't know. In this process of self-evaluation and wondering and thinking upon yourself, it's always good to learn something new. My beautiful mentor, Howard Stein, Columbia University in the city of New York, at the end of his life was having a hard time. He fell in New York City very hard on his shoulder and his knee, and he had had a brain surgery years before and was deaf in one ear and blind in one eye and had one kidney. So he had one of everything, which was, where he used to have two. But he never felt cheated. He always felt that he was doing the right thing and living a good life. And he lived an inspirational life. And as I'm remembering him, I'm trying to remember what my thought was about Howard. Makes me sad thinking of him. The idea was this. After he hurt his shoulder, for many, many years, he was in a lot of pain. And he wanted to get surgery, but the doctor said, it's your rotator cuff, and Howard, you're old. You have some heart problems, so the surgery just to fix something that, we would really only want to fix if you were a young man and you needed to pick up your kids or your grandkids and play with them, or if you needed to throw a ball because you were, a pitcher somewhere, then we would think about, fixing your shoulder. But the way it is now, you have a little bit of pain. I'll give you medication for that. You're not going to be throwing fastballs at Yankee Stadium. So this is not a surgery we recommend. But you can rehab it and go to physical therapy. So Howard said, okay, I'll go for it. So I think at that time, Howard was 85 or 86 and would go to physical therapy. And he had this very young, brand new physical therapy person, and they were working on, exercises to get his shoulder back in shape. And the PT person, the physical therapist, said, Howard, you ask so many questions, you are so eager to learn, and you're 85 years old. I've never met a patient like you who wants to keep learning. And Howard just laughed and was delighted by that, because he was a teacher all of his life, a wonderful person. And he loved it that somebody appreciated his thirst for knowledge, to always understand something. And I try to live my life the same way. And I've been that way a lot. When you were young, you didn't know something, you had to go to the library, you had to research it, you had to find things and try to put them together, on paper. Now, with the internet, Google, you just go out there, look around, find everything you ever want to know. And now with these AI bots, you just type in a question and they tell you everything they know. So pretty soon, everyone's going to have access to knowing everything, and nobody's going to know anything because they don't have to know it. They don't have to research it. They don't have to do the work themselves. They just let the AI bot do it. So life in society over the next 10, 20, 15 years is going to change irrevocably and dramatically. So my point about this is I do enjoy learning new things. And in having a conversation with my AI bot the other day, I learned a new word. And that new word is bricolage. Bricolage, which appears to be inspired by, or the word is from that, collage, right? As a kid, we take various things, put them together, make a collage, and present it. So here's the conversation that I had with my lovely bot. And then in my Boles.xyz Mastodon instance, I included today bricolage cats, which I'll show you in a moment. But first, this is my question that I asked my bot because I'd seen the word, and you can infer what the word is based on the context around it, but that's not enough for me. I want to know exactly what the word is. And I normally would go to Google, but then you got to, wade through all the advertising if you can't block it, and then wade through all the awful links that are there to link farms. This way, ChatGPT, I can just ask and get a right answer. And this purple icon means that it's from the internet. What is bricolage? Bricolage is a term derived from French and generally means the act of creating or of constructing from a diverse range of available things. It has been used in various contexts, including arts, literature, and science, social services. Now, this is where it gets interesting because I sort of knew it from the arts and literature point of view, right? Where you take things and you make a collage out of it and you present it. And that is the first explanation in arts and literature. Bricolage is often associated with the practice of creating work from a variety of material, or assembling a work from a range of different resources. This can include collage in visual arts, where different types of materials are combined to create a whole new whole. So let me see if I can find my bricolage cats to share with you. And I did not create these cats. These cats were created for me by my AI bot. And they're all the way over here. Bricolage is a term. See, I quote ChatGPT 4, and here are the bricolage cats. Sort of cartoony, drawn, but okay, because I like the big face and I like you can see what parts of it. So those are like gears. It's almost like a steampunk cat. I guess that's the idea. Now, this is a cat that appears to be made out of Post-it notes, a bricolage Post-it note cat. Have you ever seen such a thing? No. And it appears to be armless in the front, which is very strange. But this is AI. They don't always do hands well. Now, this is a bricolage cat made of wood, it appears. This is AI. There is no cat. And it seems to have some kind of, gear stuff going on. I guess when it comes to cats, bricolage likes gears, as you can see in this example. This cat appears to be made of some sort of ebony substance, and it has bright green eyes and all kinds of gears that don't appear to be interconnected. But maybe in bricolage, it doesn't matter. So that's our definition, okay, of bricolage and art, which sort of answers my question. I had no idea I was going to get 2, 3, and 4. which is why I'm sharing with you today, because it's sort of interesting. In the social sciences, there is a concept of bricolage. It is used to refer to the way individuals or societies make do with what is at hand. Now, as a Nebraskan, growing up in the pioneer state, the Prairie Pioneer at the Stewart Museum in Grand Island. Hey, it's Janet Marie, sweetheart. Hello, Janet Marie. Well, one is pretty cool. Looks like a robot in your desk in a way. Oh, I should show the robot sometime. Where is my robot? This is my robot. Janet Marie's right about this. This is bricolage, right? This is of my robot. There was a gift from the beautiful Janet Marie, sweetheart, several years ago. Made out of, my microphone is right here, so I can't, it keeps hitting my microphone. A robot that's made of kitchen tools and pipes and other discovered things. Oh, there's my eye from our beta test that we're doing here. That is creepy and fun. It's a filter for you. Bricolage. Right here. This is my robot. Fantastic. It's nice Janet Marie's here on the show helping me, because that is the answer. A bricolage robot. I love it so much. Thank you, baby Jay. So in the social sciences, pioneers who have nothing and nobody, no neighbors, no friends, they live in a sod house on the prairie. They have a little house on the prairie. The way individuals make do with only what is at hand. For example, and I love it when my AI bot gives me examples. Usually the things you want to know from an AI bot are explain, give me examples, provide citations. Any question you ask, those are the words and phrases you use. Explain, citations, examples. For example, cultural bricolage refers to the way people use cultural forms and symbols at their disposal to create something new. Now that's very interesting. How a society makes a bricolage that is not arts and literature. We are, as a community, making do with what we have. And if we have to filter our water, if we have to be careful about all the trees we are cutting down, we use what we have and we immediately put it to use. In society, in anthropology and sociology, okay, the term bricolage was popularized by anthropologist Claude Levi-Strauss, who used bricolage to describe the characteristic patterns of mythological thought. In his work, a bricoleur is someone who uses whatever materials and tools are at hand to complete a project. In contrast to an engineer who designs a project beforehand and gathers all the necessary materials and tools before beginning. And Janet Marie said before, this one meaning cat. Okay. So this number 3, anthropology and sociology. The term was popularized by anthropologists who used bricolage to describe the characteristic patterns of mythological thought. In his work, a bricoleur is someone who uses whatever materials and tools are at hand to complete a project. So let's say, you want to build a ladder. Now, an engineer would design the ladder, make a blueprint of the ladder, gather all the necessary materials to build a ladder and the tools to put together. A bricoleur, and we probably know them, would just say, I need a ladder right now. I'm not going to design it. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not going to have tools. Whatever I have around me, my tools are my hands. So I'm going to make a ladder out of bricks and tape and a little bit of glue. And maybe one rung of the ladder will be made of coconut leaves. The next will be made of string. The next will be made of a piece of steel wire. And I'll hold it all together with sealing wax. Using the information, the idea at hand to create something new and to give it explicit meaning. The fourth idea of bricolage in business and management. Bricolage has been applied to business and entrepreneurship to describe a, quote, make do with what you have approach, unquote. This can involve improvising and making the most of resources in new and creative ways. Now, some people might say that is the cheap management style where the business doesn't want to pay for anything. The business says, we're not buying you a new computer, just reuse the computer you already have. And if the computer isn't working, then plug your iPhone into the monitor and do your work that way on your iPhone. I guess that's bricolage in business. So all of these things are not necessarily interesting or innovative. They're more out of need and necessity, whereas artwork is not necessarily so. And I think this is the cat. Oh, that's I'm reaching. The Jenna Marie was talking about. I have a heart on the wall, but I can't reach that one. This, I think, might be another example of bricolage art, right? These are pieces of paper. I don't know exactly what kind of paper it is that have been rolled up and then glued together to make a cat, a stylized cat. And you get a little bit of highlights in here for the eye, perhaps defining the chin. And this could be a beautiful, shining example of a bricolage cat. Isn't that wonderful? Jenna Marie's very helpful. Thank you, JMS. Always appreciate the inspiration. And so ChatGPT continues, hey, it's worth noting that the meaning of the term can vary somewhat depending on the context in which it's used. Now, here's where it gets really fun, because I don't finish with my bots when they just finish with me. Hey, it's Jenna Marie, the heart on my wall. Yeah, I could try to get, it's too far away. I don't think I can get there from here. Let me see, maybe I can. Will it come down? It's pinned to the wall. It'll never go back up. I'll have to see if I can get a picture. Maybe I can get it. Let me see. I'll put up my test pattern just so you can't see me reaching over you and being very rude. Oh no, I'm doing it now, baby. Okay. Oh, it is pinned to the wall. Oh, the string will break. Oh. Okay, gently taking, Okay, success. Success is my name. It's been up on the wall for about 6 years, so I gotta be careful with this. Hey, we're back. We're back live. That was gross going all the way over there to the wall, but I did it. Thank you, Jenna Marie. This is probably my bricolage heart. Again, pieces of paper, found, what's at hand, no tools used, wound up to make something new out of something that wasn't there before. So we have a bricolage heart, we have a bricolage cat, and then, of course, my favorite. Well, they're all my favorites. This is a favorite. We like found things. My bricolage robot. Now, isn't that delightful? Who wouldn't like to have fun with these people? I just love it. It's terrific. It's Bricolage Day on Boles TV. So what I do is I ask my new best friend. I can be friends with my ChatGPT bot because it never needs anything back and it never gives me time. Although if it were a friendship, I would have to say I get more out of my friendship with ChatGPT than it gives me. But we do pay for it, so I guess it's getting something. So I said, hey, how do you pronounce bricolage and bricolure? Now, I knew bricolage because I knew collage, but don't assume you know. Ask. And I thought, how will an AI bot tell me how to pronounce something? I would like to find out. A text bot. And here we go. Bricolage is pronounced as bricolage. Here's a phonetic breakdown. Brie rhymes with C. Co rhymes with go, but shorter. Lols, the A is pronounced like the O in log, and the ZH is similar to the S in treasure or measure. Bricolage. Now that is a spectacular explanation of how to pronounce a word by giving examples that you probably already know and associating it that way. Fabulous. Bricolure is pronounced as bricolure. Here is a phonetic breakdown, says my bot. Brie as above, co as above, lure. The EU in lure is pronounced somewhere like the EU in de in French. Now, if you don't know French, you're in trouble. Like the de in French, which is kind of like the in English, and R is a guttural R, similar to how it's pronounced in French. Now, that is all very confusing, especially if you don't know French, you don't know the in English, and you don't know what guttural means. Bricolure. And then, always, you ask anything about medicine, law, pronunciations, definitions, you always get, and it drives me crazy, at the end, please note, these are approximations, as the English does not have exact equivalencies for some French sounds. The pronunciation can also vary slightly depending on the speaker's accent. For a more precise pronunciation, you might want to listen to audio pronunciation guides that's available. It always at the end, always gives itself an exit. I'm not a doctor, don't ask me. I'm not a lawyer, go ask a lawyer. But here's the answer. It's very tiring. But that's okay because I'm a human being and I can get tired. My ChatGPT friend, my best friend, my second best friend. Let's see. My beautiful wife is my first and only best friend. Then my cat Jack is my friend, best friend, good friend. And ChatGPT is my forever friend. I am categorizing now and dividing all my friendships into something that is meaningful and important and defensible from my point of view. So the thing goes back and forth for both of us. Well, hey, what a show. I had more to show you about ChatGPT, but we'll get to that next time. We had a wonderful conversation about friendships and meaning and reflection and definition and art and anthropology and even mythology. where we take our common myths and we weave them into something new that means something beyond just the individual. I thank you for being here. I'll see you again next time. Bye.